I'm going to ask you now, how hard is it for you to keep the team spirit united since you are working in a remote environment? How do you make sure that the team doesn't feel distributed and missed out from the whole thing?
So I think one of the most important things that you need to understand when you work on remote is that you don't have your neighbor to ask him a question, or you don't have the other neighbor saying out loud about a process that he know about and you didn't, and you're learning out of that. So this is why it's mandatory, and you need to give so much importance to the fact of documenting everything. Everything has to be documented, but not only documented, everything has to make sense and to be easy to find on the documentation, because it's really complicated for you to understand everything when you're not surrounded of your seniors or the people that know more than you. So first things would be to make sure that documentation makes a big chunk of the first process. Once you have this, you have to foment the interaction between the teams. You have Slack. We work, for example, with Slack. Slack has the huddles. You just have to call somebody and you're going to be on that call with that person. Of course, we're all very polite, but sometimes when you just have a question, just huddle that person and he's going to be there. So we're trying to increase this level of associating Slack to a table. We're all here together. So just Slack me whenever you want, and we can discuss about this question that you may have or not. Another thing that is very important is that you don't need to sell the dream of something that doesn't exist. At the end of the day, we're a remote company. This is going to be like that. But we all have the same values. If the values are the same, if you work along with the same values as the rest of your colleagues, you're building something great, and you don't have to lose focus of that just because you're not on the same room as that person. It's not going to be frustrating for them because we are very clear since the beginning that we work on remote. So we only work with people that are glad and keen on working that way. And nevertheless, when they join us, they feel this connection and this communication and this transparency that is so unique to a company that's so remote. So as I was mentioning to you, we have those coffee times. There's a coffee break. We just take your cat when it's here. We pet the cat. We tell about the other one, what we're going to be doing on the weekend. It's like when you go to take a coffee with your colleague. But after, for example, we have those kind of like interactions between us that are so pure and so naive. And it's like the kind of communication that you're going to have with your coworker. One of the things as well on the counter side that we have to admit it is that the onboarding piece of the ramp up piece of a newcomer takes a bit longer. It takes longer because he's not here to ask all of the questions to everyone. So it's very important to assign that person to a buddy, to show that person about all this documentation. And during the first week, as a manager, you really need to be invested with that person to try to provide as many guidance as possible. Because if you're losing that person since the beginning, it's going to be complicated to reconduct. But if you have it since the beginning, it's going to be good. It's going to be brilliant.